Right. So I'm just going to be talking about how to acquire your first 20 clients without feeling pushy. I know what it feels like starting a business in a country where you're not familiar with. I came into Canada in 2019, and as a new immigrant, I had no connections, no budget, but I had to start a business, right? And when I started my business, right, as an insurance agent, it was a bit difficult because people from my community, when you talk about insurance, right, the first thing that comes to their mind is that you don't wish them well. So, how would you present something like this that is valuable to people who might not, they see it as valuable, but they might not see it in the context that you're bringing it? So, the idea here is, how do you acquire your first 20 clients without feeling pushy? And in this video, I'm going to be showing you shortcuts and strategies that you would use to acquire your first 20 clients. No matter the business you're starting, even if you're starting off in pastry business, or if you're starting off in e-commerce, whatever way you're starting, this strategy works for everyone. So when I began my agency, like I said, I had no budget, I had no connections, no one really knew me, right? All I did was to focus on getting licensed, and I had to start my business connecting with people. And truly, businesses don't fail, right, because of wrong ideas or bad ideas. Most businesses struggle because they do not consistently generate leads. And when you're starting off, if you do not have consistent leads, there's no way you can grow any business. So what are the strategies you want to put in place to get consistent leads, right? So, and this is why it matters, right? Because you need to pay your bills. And most people are using businesses as a side hustle, but one way or the other, you want to ensure that you start earning as soon as possible. So the first step here is to clarify your value. What exactly do you want to help people to do with your business? What problems do you want to solve with your business? And what transformation do you want to deliver? This is very important. For example, you sell insurance products. You expect that everyone will need your insurance product. But the truth is that not everyone will need it. Who are you trying to offer your service to, and what problems do they encounter? What problems are you trying to solve with the product or service you have? And what transformation do you want to deliver? For example, you help immigrant families, right? If that is your target niche. If it's not immigrant families, maybe you want to help certain professionals, right, to protect what is most important to them. It could be their income. It could be building savings so that if any unexpected event occurs, it doesn't derail their dreams, right? So that is the transformation you're trying to do for them. So your product has to be specific and it has to be clear. So what I did was to write down at least 3 scenarios that my product or services can solve. This clarity gives you confidence when you talk to people, because you don't want to go to people as if you're begging them to get what you offer. No, you have to have clarity. You have to understand what problems your product can solve, and you learn how best to position value, because people buy value, right? Or what they value. So you want to ensure that at least you're able to position value to your target audience, understand their pains. What are they going through? What pains are they passing through right now, and how can your product or service solve that pain, or cover that pain, or help them to find reliefs from their pain, right? So the next step is to start with your warm outreach. It's always normal. If you're starting off in business, people out there don't know you. People on the internet don't know you. Right now, a lot of people out there, they don't know you. You want to start with the people you know. It's just the right thing to do, right? So what I did was to list out the people I knew, the people in my contact, friends of friends, people in my community. I joined different WhatsApp group, former colleagues. If you had friends in church, your cultural associations, even people from back home, I connected with them, right? Who are the people they knew in Canada? Why? I needed to have a clear list, because when you have a clear list, it's easier for you to know how to reach out to them and use the right messaging to reach out to them. So, for example, I started by saying I'm building my insurance agency, and I'd love to share some tips with you that could really help you. No pressure here. It's just a way for me to share some strategies that could help you out. If you don't mind, let's hop on a 15 minutes call this week. So this is not begging, it's having a conversation that will add value to people, right? You want to focus on that. That's step number 2. Write down a list of all the people you know. Most people will tell me, Ajiri, I don't know people. I'm pretty new in Canada. Okay, you don't know people, but you can join groups, you can join communities, right? And the people you know from back home, if you check that your list, right, that people from back home that knows people here in Canada, why don't you leverage that network and get a list of people and start connecting with them? Listen, it's not really about selling a product or service. It's about building a strong network. You want to connect with as much people as you can connect with, because this will help you in many ways to build and establish rapport with people, right? The third step, right, is use mini events and community visibility. When I started my insurance agency, what I did was to attend events, I attended meetings, I attended every activity going on. Why? Because I felt that the more I'm exposed to people, it helps me to connect more. And people can at least identify with me whenever I try to schedule a meeting with them. So I started organizing events, right? I started organizing community visibility events. I started hosting seminars that were relevant to people who are coming to Canada, for example, from my community. So it's just easy like that. If you start building that kind of presence, right? You just start connecting with people based on what people need, right? So I started organizing events, seminars, things that would help people get more clarity about certain issues that they are struggling with. It started giving me more visibility within my warm market, my warm outreach. And from there, people started at least connecting and building trust, right? That's the whole idea, because people have to trust you and know you if you're going to at least get them to listen to you. So in this way, I started interacting with different communities, and this helped me to start meeting and connecting with people. Step number 4, you want to turn conversations into clients. So when a conversation reveals the need for someone, right, you want to transition naturally. So based on what you shared, for example, let's say you talked about a strategy, and maybe you just talked about something that you and someone had a common let me say conversation or strategy with. For example, how is your Thursday afternoon? The weather is really smoky today, and all of that. So you want to connect like that and start talking about the things that really interest them, and it shows that you're professional in many ways, and you want to make this conversation meaningful. So the secret to keeping conversations going is learning how to ask the right questions. Because if you're asking the right questions, it unravels things, right? And people get more and more comfortable with you. So you want to learn how to ask questions. It is an important skill you must have if you're going to go into business, right? You want to be able to ask the right questions to keep a conversation going, and you want to make it open-ended most times. Also, the next step is learning how to follow up with value. So you want to ensure that at least when you reach out to people, use a 3-touch system. First and foremost, you want to create a reminder, right? So you're just checking up on them if they were able to look into the guide that you sent to them, because you want to add value. You want to share a tip or a resource that is related to something that they have asked questions about. Then you want to also determine if they are still okay to connect with you to have a follow-up conversation. But the idea here is that as much as possible, you want to ensure that whatever you're doing is giving value to people. That's what matters the most. You want to give value. So in closing, right, you want to first clarify your value. Start with your warm outreach. Use mini events and visibility. Also transition your conversations into clients by connecting with them and seeing what ways we can at least find something that aligns between both of us, and see if we can have a follow-up conversation with value, right? So this system actually helped me to grow my insurance agency and has given me consistent six figures. It's all about connecting with people. It's all about knowing more people. So what I tell people every time is, how do I increase my network bank? So how do I expand the network of people I know? Because if you're exposed to 1,000 people, for example, there's a chance that 10% of that number could be your client. Why? Because they've gotten to know you, they trust you to an extent, and you're able to give them value and you understand their problems. So the key to building your first 20 clients without feeling pushy or salesy is connecting with your warm market and understanding their problems, understanding your value, and knowing how to connect your value to what they desire. I hope you found this video useful. Drop a comment in the comment section just to know what aspect of this video that really stuck to you and what you can do differently to acquire your first 20 clients. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.